everyone. Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Hangout podcast. We are live with Liz Wolfe, and we're going to be talking about thriving as an entrepreneur and the mindset of an entrepreneur. So this is going to be really exciting stuff. Liz, tell everybody a little bit about you. Say hey to everyone.
Sure. Well, thank you for listening. For who is listening either now or later, thank you so much for doing that. And I have been an entrepreneur so I got married the same year I incorporated, and this is our 29th year.
Oh, wow.
So I've lived through husband, partnership, and children going off to college and having my business all this time. So started out more in the technology field and solely a business coach now. And my niche and the people that I love to work with the most are people who are starting their business, like the people that maybe up until now are like, wait, how does this work? And just getting you through any place where you feel stuck, which is a lot of people.
Yeah. There are a lot of stuck people. So when you were gonna work with them, again, like I like to focus on a mindset, and I love the topic of mindset. I mean, without a healthy mindset, you are doomed to fail. Um, do you do an assessment when you're talking with people as far as like trying to figure out where their mindset is at? How do you start?
Yeah, the first thing I do with everyone is what I call a vision roadmap. It's a 2-hour session. And I wish every human being in the world that is interested in being in business would do this process with me. I, through my many years of experience, have gotten very good at hearing even the little things,
Mm,
um, little words. Like I write everything down in my notebook as I'm talking to people. And
yeah.
I wrote right now, I have the words "my fault" written down here in my notebook. And so one of my clients said something, well, my fault. And I write that down because these are all the little ways in which we undermine our confidence. And looking at all the ways that we are historically, I know it's a vision roadmap. That's the first thing we want to do is look to the vision. But what do we generally draw from to paint a future vision is our past accomplishments or
Hmm.
our quote unquote past failures. So I really want to hear, what are the fears and doubts that are in your brain as you go into this? And there's nothing wrong with having fears and doubts, meaning we want to know what they are, but we also want to know what work to do to get past those so that you can keep going and create a successful business.
Yeah, I mean, first, I mean, I think everybody's got some fears and doubts at some point or another. I mean, you'd be a robot if you didn't.
Right.
But still, also, talking about, I think that people, if you're going to say, well, what did I do wrong? Instead of changing that mindset to say, what did I do right today?
Mm,
Like celebrating those wins. And I'm a big celebrate the wins, even as small as they are, so that you don't get stuck in that whole minutia of what went wrong.
yeah, because pretty much something is always going to go wrong. I mean,
Absolutely.
right? Living a life, something is going to go wrong. And so for each thing, it's a little cliche, but what are we learning from that? And how can we apply it in future? And also, one philosophy that I've learned through working with other people is everything is happening for my good. And if you can
Mhm.
really live in that mindset that no matter what is happening, it is happening for my good, and all
Sure.
those frustrations and moments of feeling stuck and not knowing what to do next and all that, or feeling like there was some failure or you didn't get the sale that you wanted, whatever, how is this happening for my good? And you could ask that by saying, well, what value is there in
Mhm.
learning from what I did here?
Right. And I think learning from your mistakes, they're there for a reason. It's like, um, you had to go through that so that you could grow. It wasn't fun. It wasn't necessarily what you wanted. But if you look at it on the other side, and maybe it takes a little while, maybe it takes 2 years or 1 year or 6 months or whatever it is that you're going through, you usually say, oh, yeah, I get
Mhm.
it. That's why I had to go through it first.
Right. You learning. And so some examples are coming to mind for me, like I didn't charge enough. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do a contract. I have a interior design. It's a friend of mine, but he does interior design and staging for real estate people for selling apartments in New
Uh-huh.
York City. And early on in our communication, he would say, "Oh, I didn't do that contract." Is a contract right for everyone? Not necessarily,
Right. Right.
but for him it was important, and so lesson learned.
Right.
Irritating that I had to learn that lesson. And then here's a mindset thing that I hear a lot, which is, "Oh, I should have, I should have known better. I should have done it. I should have done
Mm-hmm.
it."
Shoulda,
And I
shoulda,
always
shoulda,
like to
shoulda.
say, you would have done it if you could have done it.
Right. Right.
And you obviously you didn't know. Like, it's so easy to say I should have done something.
Right.
And
Yeah.
but it wasn't obviously easy for you to do it because you didn't do it. And so I think we linger a lot in those kinds of regretful past
Mm-hmm.
conversations. I know I've certainly done it myself.
Yeah, I think, everybody knows we need to study the past, right? So that we don't repeat the history of what was negative or whatever. And I mean, literally, I mean, my husband, he loves to say, study the past so you don't completely redo it again. But um, it's, you do need to study it, but you don't have to stay in it.
That's right.
Like, come on. And a lot of people do. They do stay in it.
Yeah, I sometimes hear myself saying, "Well, that's the story of my life." And then one day I woke up, I was like, woke up to myself, not in the morning, but woke up to myself. Why do I keep repeating that this is the story of my life? I'm just reinforcing that right now by saying
Mm,
it's the story of my life. And how many times, oh, this always happens to me. I like to say, I like to ask a question, who's lining up in front of you? Because you'll see the same experiences lining up in front of you over and over and over again. And we so much like to put that out there on the universe to say, oh, these people keep showing up. And it's like, wait, why do I keep attracting these people
yeah,
or these situations that show up? And those are the learning moments.
I totally agree with that. So, okay, so now what we do the assessments, okay? And what's the next steps for you, Liz?
Yeah, the process or this formula, I guess you would say, is once I know what my vision is, it's like saying, I want to go on an adventure, right? So I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to start driving. It's good to have some plan of where
Mm,
you're going to go. I suppose
sure.
it's pretty adventurous if you want to just start driving, but I live in New York City and you probably would end up in Brooklyn somewhere, lost on the BQE and not knowing which direction to go and get to a dead end and have to turn around. So we
And
want
not
to
very pleasant, by the
have
way.
stuck in traffic, right?
Yes.
That's like such a metaphor for
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. I'm just going to get in my car and start driving, find out what roads come up that I should turn on, and then I'll end up getting stuck in traffic. So we need some GPS. We need something to look
Mm,
forward. Okay. So now the next thing is a clear vision plus what I call purposeful action. Okay. What is purposeful action? I think that's a big question that people always ask. Well, how do I know what to do? And so again, through the conversations, again, I'm sure that as a coach, you've had many of these conversations with people. Well, what's the most important thing to be doing right
sure.
now?
Hmm.
And the question, one of the filter questions that I use is, what's the fastest path to cash?
Hmm.
What actions can I take that are going to help to bring in clients if that's a focus and a goal?
Hmm.
Now, you get into action, and I think this is where a lot of coaches end or don't follow through on. In other words, they make it all about accountability. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'm all for accountability. However, I've always liked to say that being an entrepreneur is the best personal development course you're ever going to be in your life.
Well, and actually, I'm just going to put a little caveat. You're never really going to get out of it.
Right.
You don't ever leave that course. That is the university of life. You never leave it. You never graduate.
You really, really don't.
Yeah.
And so when I have these, so let's just say, okay, I'm going to make 5 sales calls. Let's say that you're a person and want to do a workshop. Okay. How many
Sure.
people are going to get? 10. Great. In order to have 10, you have to have 15. Okay. How are you going to market to them? Right. So it's all the do stuff. Okay. I'm going to make 5 calls this week to get my 10 people. Great. Okay. Go do it. Come back on the next call. How'd you do? Well, I made 3 calls.
Yeah.
Okay. Why? What happened? Oh,
Yeah.
well, I did the first one and they, I just got discouraged after the third person said they really weren't sure. And, I just got discouraged. And anyway, so I thought I could just text people, and right. Okay. So the real value of doing the action items is what I call the hidden barriers that you come up against. You
Mm.
don't, future me is really good. Oh man. Future me is making sales calls and never eating sugar again. And, you know, um, just being nice to never getting in an argument with my husband, right? Future me is always doing better. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
now me, present me, is the one actually dealing with the things that past me committed to, right?
Right.
So these hidden barriers are going to come up, and that's just going to be those emotions, the mindset things, the challenges you weren't expecting. Oh, I didn't know that if I committed to creating a website, that the website designer I hired was going to wig out on me and not be available
He's
or
like, sure,
whatever it
sure.
is, right? So we're dealing with all these emotions. And if we were just robots, we could simply just do the task and do it or not do it and come back and say I did it or I didn't do it. But that's not the way it goes. We have all this work to work through those hidden barriers. And if you keep doing that cycle of committing to an action, working the action, and then evaluating and noticing the challenges that you're having, slowly, and I'm using the word slowly, although no one likes it, but eventually you're going to expand and create more success.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. So we talked a little bit before the show, and I'm just gonna like bring up quizzes because I think it's quite interesting that people like those quizzes. I did a quiz, and I still have it out there actually, but um, and I think that people can do personality quizzes. They can do all these quizzes, right? I get a thumbs up on the quiz. That's awesome. Um, so it's quite funny because it is quizzes. So and I promote them with my clients with building out those quizzes because it's a great way to get them into your ecosystem.
Yeah.
So a little bit about your quiz, like what are you trying to obtain with your quiz?
So my quiz is about understanding your CEO leadership style. And as an entrepreneur, we are all CEOs of our own business. And there are 4 CEO types: the chief enthusiasm officer, the chief expert officer, the chief empowerment officer, and the chief excellence officer. And each one of those has a lot of virtues to it. Like the excellence officer is always doing really excellent work, and the empowerment
Sure.
officer is really good at engaging with other people and supporting, and the enthusiasm was always having ideas. There's also the flip side, which is the excellence officer is so focused on perfection that we never get anything done. The enthusiasm is so busy coming up with new ideas and running from shiny object syndrome to shiny object.
Sure.
The empowerment officer is so busy helping people with crazy tasks that they never would want to do. So what happens in those cases, and why I think of course it's a fun quiz, it's short, it's 10 questions, is it one of these really super deep,
Right.
we're going to tell you're an LLMPQRST type, like one of them.
Rated on a scale to 1 to 10. No, you should not start a business.
Right. And so why I think it's fun to do this is because if I'm a chief enthusiasm officer, which I am, I'm always wanting to do new things. If
Sure.
I'm a chief enthusiasm officer, then I don't understand why I'm not following through on things and seeing success, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, which makes me perhaps say, maybe I shouldn't try that new idea. Because if I try that new idea, it's going to fail just like the last one did. So obviously through the additional communication that I'm doing after the quiz and all the content that you get after it, it's really helping you to figure out and identify if I'm going to start a business or if I'm going to have a business and work through it, what are the pitfalls that I might be encountering just by virtue of who I am. And one, I think, really big misnomer that's out there, a myth, is that you have to be really, really rigorous and disciplined to be a good entrepreneur. You really have to
Oh
be
yeah.
one of these people that, gets out
Yeah.
there, does it, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you need to be creative, focused. You have to be resilient because you're going to have some ups, downs, and all arounds, and things are sometimes going to suck. It's going to get lonely, and you might not ever do anything right. But if you're consistent and you're like resilient and you want it, you're passionate about it, you want it, and you've had some help to figure out is does somebody else want it? Because just because you want it doesn't mean somebody else will want it, which means then, therefore, they will not buy your stuff. And
I would
so you got to, yeah, come up with something different.
I would say you've nailed the one word that, excuse me, the one word that I would say is consistent. Be
Yeah.
consistent, because
Yep.
if anything that I can see that I've had success with, it's because I stayed consistent doing it. And maybe I needed something like every Tuesday from 10 to 12 joining a writers group until I got that book done or the quiz done or all
Yeah.
those things. So staying consistent with it, we have a tendency to give up on things. And one of the things I hear a lot, I think we all do, 50% of all businesses fail in the
Oh,
first
yeah.
project, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I want to be like, okay, who are these people, right? Because there's so many reasons that you might stop doing a business. You might have changed. You might have decided you're not
Mhm.
passionate about it. You might have decided that, yeah, you did it a couple years, but everything changed. Let's say you were an event business, but now there's a pandemic. There could be so many ways. And I feel like we use that statistic as a reason not
Sure.
to start.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and but by being consistent, you mentioned loneliness. Obviously, having a coach. We're both coaches.
Yeah.
We want you to have a coach. Uh, I have one woman that I work with. I'm the only person that she talks to about the work that she's doing, because
Yeah. That's funny.
I'm
That's
the person
funny.
that she knows. She hired me to help her, and she's been
Right.
doing it, and she's like making progress. So
That's awesome.
everybody has to be on their own path at their own time. Get some support while you're doing it.
You got it. You got it. So before we wrap it up, and we'll have Liz's quiz in the show notes tomorrow when after this goes live, or even tonight. So we'll fix it, tidy it up, make it pretty, and put your quiz there. So that's great. So Liz, what do you got? What's in your future coming up now? Like what's going to be next?
Yes, thank you for asking. Well, little known facts about me. I'm also a bluegrass musician,
Oh, lovely.
and I run a lot of bluegrass jams in the city. And I'm not a professional musician. But I am building my jampire. We call it my
Oh,
jampire.
lovely. That's great. I
So
love that.
I've been spending a lot of time this summer going to bluegrass festivals. And so it always feels like, oh, school is starting, that September,
Hmm.
little bit of fall. So I will be coming back and focusing more on my quiz and getting it out there to more people, because I really do feel that it's a very valuable asset for people to be able
Yeah.
to use and read. And I also have a course called the Abundance Breakthrough Course, and I haven't done it since before the pandemic, but it's starting to come. It's such a beautiful course, and people come to my house in New York City and just really dig through those abundance conversations, right? Because that's really what we're talking about here, is having an abundance
Yeah.
mindset.
Absolutely.
So that may
I
be
love
coming
it.
down the pike.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, that's great. I am getting ready to, I'm getting ready to head to South Africa at the end of this month. I used to go over to South Africa. I had a touring business. I'm leading 8 people. Since it's actually been about 7 years or so since I've been over there. So I'm super excited. When I come back, I'm actually going to be doing a challenge. And so I haven't even announced it yet, but it's going to be a fun how to find $2,500 in 7 days. So it's like those really just people that are like, oh my gosh, I am really stuck. I really need some cash. So I've been doing a couple of podcasts, and so I got inspired by it. And I think it'll just be a lot of fun. Where to find it, how to find it, do it, and stick with it. So
I love
there you
challenges.
go.
I
I
love
do. I think
challenges.
they're fun.
And
Everybody needs
anytime
one.
I've done one, either I've led one or done them, it's a good like jumpstart thing. It's a
Yeah.
good, yeah, let's find that 2,500 bucks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sounds like a very
Absolutely.
valuable way to spend some time.
Yeah, you got it. All right, you guys, I'm going to say bye for now. And if you'd like to be a guest on the Entrepreneurs Hangout, I go live every single Wednesday at 3 EST. And so just say me, and we will send you out our podcast booking form. Like us, love us, share us, and we're going to say bye for now.
Thank you so much.